So if you notice, the warm-up is number 3 in our notes. The warm-up is number 3 in our notes. So how do we do this? So yesterday I talked about this, and I told you there's 3 things we need to do, okay? First thing, and this is the most important thing, if I'm going to reflect, right, we're doing reflections. If I'm going to reflect a figure, I need to know what I'm reflecting it over. I need to know that line of reflection, right? So that's the first thing I need to know. So if I look here, that's the last thing they tell us. They tell us right here, the y-axis. So the first thing I do is I put a line. Because I'm looking at some of your warm-ups. Some of you reflected side to side. Some of you reflected up and down. Some of you reflected diagonally. I don't know what you were doing, but that's okay. Again, if you get it wrong, you see how we do it now. So pay attention now, and then you'll go, oh, okay. So first thing you do, did you draw your line of reflection, the y-axis? Okay, that's my mirror. That's what I'm going to reflect over. So I'm going to reflect from side to side. If you look at that, that's my mirror. I'm going from side to side. Okay, so those of you that did an up and down or a diagonal, do you see what you did wrong now? That's my line of reflection. Second thing I do is I plot the points of the original figure. And they even tell us what the original figure is here. What the original figure is. It's here. Trapezoid FGHI. And they tell us the coordinates of F, G, H, and I. So 4 points. So I'm going to do F, which is -5, -2. So I go backwards. So if you forgot how to plot points, always start in the middle. Always start at the, always start at the origin, and then you just go backwards 5 and down 2. That's what F says, backwards 5 on the X and down 2 on the Y. So -5, -2 just means I go backwards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I go down 2. Right here. And that's my F. Okay. G is -2, -2, so that means I go backwards 2, down 2. Which is right here. That's my G. H is 0, -6. That means I don't go forward or backwards. I go on the x-axis 0, and I go down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right here. And that's H. And then next is I, -8, -6. So I go backwards 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's right here, and that's I. And then I connect those dots. And this is my original figure. This is my pre-image, right? This is the figure that they give us. FGHI. Okay? So this should be the first part you do. You draw your line of reflection, which they give you is a y-axis, and then you just draw the figure. The points they give you, you plot those points. Now, we need to reflect it over to the other side. So if we look here, I'm going to flip it, and it's going to go across that way. Okay, those of you that went this way, we didn't do that. Those of you that went this way, we're not doing that. This is our mirror. This pink line is our mirror, so we have to go across that mirror. Okay, so did everyone get that line of reflection correct? And did everyone get their original figure correct? Did you plot the points? Some of you plotted the points wrong. So if you plotted it wrong, you can ask me now, Mister, how did you plot H? I got something different. Now, how did you plot I got something different. So if you have a question, you can ask now, because now they're going to go to the third step, which is the last step. I'm going to reflect each point. Again, hearing crickets. So your silence is telling me you get this. You have 4 adults in here. So if you don't want to send me a question, there are 3 other adults in here that you can ask. You got Miss Torres, Miss Rivas, and Miss Preciado. You can message any of us with any questions. Okay? All right, nothing? Okay. So the third thing we do is we're going to reflect it. And how do we do that? We're just going to reflect the 4 points. And if we reflect only the 4 edge points, those 4 vertices, the whole thing goes across. So all we got to do is do those 4 edges. And the way we do that is we look and see how far from that mirror, how far from that line of reflection are we? So let's start with G. G is 1, 2 units away from the mirror. So that means it's going to be 2 units in the opposite direction. 1, 2, and then there's my new G. Now these orange lines that I'm drawing, you don't have to draw these. These are just for me to show you me measuring the distance. How far is that point from the line of reflection? and then you just go that many units on the other side. So if you look here, this is 2 units away from the mirror on this side, and so that means it's 2 units away from the mirror on the other side, in opposite world, right? Now if you look down here, H is actually on the mirror. It's kind of like when you put your finger, like if you're standing in front of a mirror and you put your finger on the mirror, right? Everything else behind your finger is reflected to the other side of the mirror, but your finger and the reflected finger are in the same point. You're touching, you can actually feel it with your finger when you're touching the mirror, right? So same thing with point H. Point H is on the mirror, is on the line of reflection. So that means it's 0 units away from the line. It's on the line. So that means the reflected point is actually on the line too. So my H prime, my new H, oh, this is G prime, by the way. Sorry. It's a new G, so it's G prime. And this is my new H. It's H prime. It's on the same spot as my original point because they're both on the mirror. Okay. They're 0 units away from the mirror, so they're both on the mirror. All right, let's look at F. F, it's kind of on a straight line with G, right? But we can still count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So F is 5 units away from the mirror. So I'm going to do 5 units in the other direction. 1, 2, well, G is 2, right? And then 3, 4, 5. So there's my new F, which we call F prime. And then I is the farthest one away. I always do the closer ones first and then the farthest one last. So I, let's count this, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 8 away. It is 8 away from that mirror, from that line of reflection. So I'm going to do 8 away in the opposite direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's my new I, which I call I prime. And now let's connect the dots. Connect the dots. La, 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 la. And there we go. There's your reflected trapezoid. And so now let's look at each point. Now here's another one that some of you are still having difficulty plotting points. It's okay. So now we want to know the coordinates of F prime, G prime, H prime, and I prime. Yes, I am going to give you a second to copy this. I am moving it a lot. I will give you a second to copy this, but let's get the points first. So let's start with G prime. So G prime, again, we start here at the origin. You always start, when you're getting coordinates, you always start at the origin and figure out how you move. So first we move X. We go forward 2 on the X and then down 2 on the Y. Forward is positive, down is negative. So forward 2, down 2. So it's 2, negative 2 for G. 2, comma, negative 2. 2 on the X, negative 2 on the Y. All right, F prime. F prime is here. So to get to F prime, I have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 forward and 2 down. 5 forward on the X, 2 down on the Y. So that's 5, negative 2. H prime. H prime, it's going to be the same as H because remember, they're on the line. So H prime is just, we don't move forward or backwards on the X. We just go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 0 because we go 0 on the X and then we go down 6 on the Y. And then I prime is way over here, but we can count it. It's way over here. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 forward on the X. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down on the Y. 8 forward on the X, 6 down on the Y. So 8, negative 6. And there we go. Okay, I'll give you a second. I'll give you a couple minutes to copy that down. Okay, give you a couple minutes to copy that down. And if you have any questions on how I did this, please put it in the chat to me. You can do a direct link, or Ms. Torres, Ms. Rivas, Ms. Preciado, you can send it to them. Okay, so again, draw that line of reflection. Plot the proper amount of points that they give you for the original figure. And then the last step is you reflect each of those points to the other side of that line by just counting how far they are from the mirror, from the line of reflection. Okay? And so as of right now, these problems, the x-axis and the y-axis, vertical and horizontal, vertical y-axis, horizontal x-axis, have been our line of reflections. What if, and now we're going to go to the next one, what if we have other vertical and horizontal lines. Okay. Guess what? Same steps. Same steps. But you just have to remember from Algebra 1. And if you don't, I'm going to remind you. Okay. Don't stress like, I don't remember Algebra 1. It's okay. It's okay. I will remind you. But there are equations of lines that will give us vertical or horizontal. Okay. And I'm going to show you a way to not have to memorize it. It's okay if you do memorize it. Like I'll tell you right now. X equals equations. If you like x equals 5, x equals 30, x equals -2. X equals equations are always vertical. X equals equations are always vertical. Y equals equations like y equals 7, y equals -10. Those are always horizontal. So if you want to memorize that, you can. But I have a way of looking at that without having to memorize it. Because some of you are like, but I get it confused sometimes because X goes this way. But what do you mean it's vertical? Yes, X equals equations go vertical. But the x-axis goes horizontal. So that's why I know some of you get it flipped, right? So I'll show you how to do this. So number 5, we have a triangle, okay, with those vertices, and we'll plot those in a minute. But the first thing I'm always interested in, the first thing I want to do is what is that line? And they tell us right here, the line is x equals 4. X equals 4. So what kind of line is that? If you see an x equals by itself or a y equals by itself, you know it's going to be vertical or horizontal. You may say, you know what, mister? I forget. I didn't memorize. Memorize is not good unless you understand what's going on. So x equals 4 means I'm going to go to x equals 4. So let's see. X equals 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. -1, -2, -3, -4, negative. So x equals 4 is right here, isn't it? Oh my gosh. Right there. Isn't that x equals 4? But x equals 4 means x is only 4. X is not 5. X is not 4.1. X is not 30. X is not -10. X is 4. So if x is 4, that means this whole line is x is 4. So that's my mirror. It's a vertical line. So x equals 4 means I go to x equals 4 and I stay there vertically. I just stay in that straight line. X equals 4. So you don't have to memorize, is it vertical, is it horizontal? Just go to x equals 4 and then stay there, right? Don't go sideways, because if I go sideways, then x is going to be something else, and x is only 4. So there's my mirror. That's the most important thing you need in reflecting. You need that line of reflection. Okay, now we can plot these points. Now let's plot the triangle JKL. So J is 1, -1. So J is 1, -1. So that's right there, J. K is 2, 3. 2, 1, 2, 3. That's K. And L is 3, -2. 3, -2. There's L. And then I connect the points. And there you go. There you go. I just plotted J, K, L, my original figure, my pre-image. Okay. Step 1, figure out the line of reflection. In this case, it's x equals 4. Draw it. I would use a highlighter. Then plot the points of your figure. This is a triangle, JKL. I just drew JKL. Step 3, reflect it. Let's reflect all the points. So let's do L. L is the closest one. How far is L from the line? How far is L from the line, guys? How far is L from the line of reflection? How far is it from the pink line? How many units? 1. Exactly. So it's one unit away. So guess what? I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to go 1 unit. Oops. I'm going to go 1 unit away on the other side to get my new L. There's my new L, which is called L prime. Let's do the same thing with K. K is 1, 2 units from the line of reflection. So I'm going to go 2 units in the opposite direction on the line. 1, 2, go 2 units this way. And that's my new K, which I call K prime. And then J, if we look at J, J is 1, 2, 3 units away from the line of reflection, from the mirror, from the pink line. And so that means it's 3 units away on the other side. 1, 2, 3, and there's my new J prime. And now if I connect the dots, you will see it is a perfect reflection over that line. There you go. There you go. Okay, good job. Good job. So step 1, x equals 4 is my line of reflection. So I go to 4, I go to x equals 4, and I stay there. So that means it's a vertical line. Then I plot JKL. I plot JKL. That's the red triangle. And then I get each point, and I find out how far it is from the line of reflection, and I do the opposite side, the same distance, but on the opposite side. Okay, and these orange lines that I'm drawing, they're just showing you the distance. Right? This is 2 units, so it has to be 2 units on the other side. This is 3 units on this side of the mirror, so it has to be 3 units on this side of the mirror. This is 1 unit on this side, that has to be 1 unit on that side. Okay, I'll give you a couple minutes to copy this down. And please ask it questions. I'm very, very, very skeptical that there are no questions here. I don't believe you. That's sad, mister. You don't trust me? Yeah, exactly. I don't. This is too many, especially this class. And it's not a knock on this class, but I know this class struggles sometimes, and that's fine. But what's not fine is to struggle and to stay there and do nothing about it. Right? Especially with 4 adults in here. There should be no question unanswered. All questions should be answered. There are 4 of us here to help you. And you not asking one of us if you're having a question is that's the dumb. You think your question's dumb? No, it's dumb to not ask it. That's the dumb part. You need to ask in some shape or form. There's 4 of us, pick one of us. If you're afraid of me, okay, that's fine. But there are 3 other people here that you can ask. But don't let it go unasked. You have to ask, guys. You can't sit there, especially if I've gone over this very slowly, very methodically, a piece at a time. I've repeated it many times. And if you still don't get it, you need to ask again. You need to ask and say, Mister, I didn't get this, or what did you mean by that, or why, or can you zoom in over there? It's blurry. I'll do any of that stuff. But I need your questions. Okay, 10 more seconds and we'll move on to the next problem. I'm actually going to want you to try the next problem on your own, and then I'll go over it. Okay. So let's go over this next problem. It's going to be very similar. It's going to be another x equals. So I want you to try this one. Okay, it's number 6 in your notes. If you printed it out, just do number 6 in your notes. If not, it's on the screen right here. We have a square, RSTU, with those coordinates, and the line of reflection is x equals -1. Okay, I want you to try it on your paper right now. I'll give you 3 minutes, and if you don't finish in 3 minutes, that's fine. If you don't finish in 3 minutes, that's fine. Just go as far as you can, and then we'll go over this in 3 minutes. Okay. All right. If you didn't finish, that's fine. That's fine. Just let's look at how to do this. Just however far you got, that's fine. So let's see how we do this. So the first thing, hopefully you got through this part at least. The first thing is to look for that line of reflection. And in this case, it's x equals -1. So again, let's go here. Where is x equal -1? Well, this is 0. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. This is -1, -2, -3, -4, etc. So those are the x. So where is x equal to -1? Right there. And so if x equals -1, if that's my equation, I'm going to stay there. That doesn't mean x equals 1, x doesn't equal 7, x doesn't equal anything else but -1. So I'm going to stay on that line. That line is x equals -1. right? Because I'm not moving. If I move side to side, X changes. So I'm staying there. So it's vertical. So there's my mirror. Oh my gosh. And I would draw a line straight through that. You always have to know where your line of reflection is so you know what you're flipping over. Now let's plot our square. Our square is RSTU, so there's 4 points. Again, know how many points you're plotting. This is a square, so it has 4 points, and it's R, S, T, and U. Make sure you plot all 4 and label them. So R is 0, 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So that means I go 0 on the X and up 3 on the Y. So that's my R. S is 5, 4. So I go 5 on the X and then 4 on the Y. So 5 on the X and then 1, 2, 3, 4 on the Y, which is my S. T is 6, negative 1. So I go 6 on the X and negative 1 on the Y. So there's my T. And then U is 1 on the X and negative 2 on the Y. 1, negative 2. There's my U. And then connect the dots. And there's my perfect square. Well, not the way I draw, but it's a square. Trust me. So now we have the 2 key ingredients, and now we are ready to flip it, do our third step. Third step is, okay, this is 1 unit away from the line. So I'm going to go 1 unit in the opposite direction from the mirror, and there's my new R. R prime. Let's go to S. I'm going to do, let's go in alphabetical order. I'm going to do S. S is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 6 units away. So I'm going to go 6 units the opposite direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. And that's my new S. So that's S prime. Now let's look at U. U is 1, 2 units away from the line of reflection. So I'm going to go 2 units the other way. 1, 2. There's my new U. And then T, last one. It's only 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 7 away. So I'm going to go 7 in the other way, other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And that's my new T, which is T prime. And I connect those dots, and you see a perfect square, but now on the other side, now flipped over that line of reflection. And if you want to check here, R prime, if you want to look at R prime, start at the origin. Don't start at the pink line. Right? When we're doing coordinates, you don't start at the pink line. You start at the origin, right? Start at the regular XY axis. And I go backwards 1, 2, and then up 1, 2, 3. So the coordinates of R prime is negative 2, 3. So R prime is negative 2, 3. Okay. S, let's look at S. S is start at the origin, not at the pink line. Start at the origin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Backwards 7, then up 1, 2, 3, 4. Backwards 7, up 4. So that's negative 7. Come on, there you go. Negative 7 and then positive 4 for S prime. All right, T prime. T prime is way out there. So again, I start at the origin. Don't start at the pink line. When you're doing coordinates, you don't start at the pink line. Some of you are doing that. Coordinates are always from your XY, right? And so I go backwards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I go down 1. So backwards 8, down 1. So backwards 8 down 1 means negative 8 minus 1. I go backwards 8 on the X, down 1 on the Y. Negative 8 minus 1. And then U prime. Me prime? No. The letter U prime. Go backwards 1, 2, 3. And then down 1, 2. Backwards 3, down 2. So backwards 3, down 2, negative 3, negative 2. And there you go. So I'll give you a minute to copy that. Actually, I'll have both side by side. Give you a couple minutes. To copy that And let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so the question was, I really don't understand the line of reflection. So if you go back to your notes, remember it says vertical. We're going to do x-axis and y-axis. Those are some lines of reflection. And then we're going to do vertical and horizontal lines. And then we had this x equals a number or y equals a number. If you want to memorize this, x equals equations, x equals equations are I don't know why we put this. X equals equations are vertical lines, and y equals equations are horizontal lines. Okay, but if you don't want to memorize it, and that's okay if you don't memorize it, because sometimes you flip it back and forth. X equals 4 just means go to x equals 4. You see right here on the x-axis where x equals 4, right there? So x equals 4 means I stay there. X equals 4. I can't go over here because x equals 5. I can't go over here because x equals 3. X equals 4 means I stay at that spot. That means I just stay at that spot, up and down. Everything is at that spot. So that's why it's a vertical one. Same thing here. X equals -1. I go here to x equals -1 and I stay there. X equals -1, and that's a line going right through that. Okay. If I go to the next problem, we're not going to do the whole thing, but this next problem says y equals 2. Y equals 2. So that means y is 2. So if I go here, where is y equals 2? Well, there's y equals 1, 2, right? This is the y-axis, right? So where is y equals 2? Y equals 2 is right here. And y equals 2 means y equals 2. So that means I stay there. So that means I stay there the whole time. And there's my line. Okay, so yeah, so that's the way you do it. So yeah, the line of reflection is really, really huge. Okay, so we'll go over these tomorrow. And then what we're also going to go over tomorrow is now we have some vertical lines. Those are a little bit more difficult. Okay, so just make sure that you understand the x and y axis as your line of reflection and other horizontal and vertical lines, x equals or y equals equations. All right, so that's it for today. We will continue tomorrow. The homework will probably be due tomorrow because I didn't go over the diagonal ones yet. And we'll have some type of activity for you to practice, okay? Because I want you to practice this. Okay, so you can start some of the homework. You can start some of the homework and do some of these types of problems. And then we'll talk about diagonals tomorrow, okay?